Welcome to the channel. We're going to be discussing some things that you need to consider when you're planning a trip to Bald Head Island. I noticed there were not a ton of informative videos on YouTube explaining some of the ins and outs if you've never been there before. All in all, a wonderful place to vacation. Beautiful history, beautiful sights, flora, fauna, everything, the wildlife, all that stuff. So we're going to talk about some of the things that you need to consider when you're planning your trip, and some of the things that you might not have thought about that can make your trip a little more cost effective as well as more efficient and everything like that. The number one thing when you go to Bald Head Island is price. Everything is an exorbitant cost. It's not cheap to go there. It's not like going to Myrtle Beach or a normal beach and renting a hotel or a small house or something. These houses most of them are fairly large. It would behoove you to go in with other families or friends or something to kind of share the cost, because it is pretty expensive. Thousands and thousands of dollars to get something for the week. And just expect, as with any island life, you're going to pay more for stuff, 1.5 to 3 times the price for normal things, because everything has to be shipped over. It's like the first time I went to Hawaii back in, the 90s, and a soft taco at Taco Bell was, $1.80 when they were 59 cents back home. Gas back then was like $4.25 a gallon or $3.85 or some crazy number when it was like $1.20 back home. Boy, those weren't the days. But when you have to ferry everything over, obviously the cost is going to go up. So just expect that going in. Everything from, a thing of ice cream to all the stuff at the gift shop, your rentals. You can rent most anything there, wakeboards and even beach chairs and bikes and stuff like that. But you'll pay, $80 a week for a chair, for example, something like that. And I'm guesstimating at it. It's something like that. It's more than you would think. So, when you're booking a house, you kind of want to make sure that some of these amenities are already in place so that you can utilize them there. The house that we had probably 12, 15 chairs. So, there was that. And I would imagine that most of them are like that, equipped, but you can rent all kinds of stuff, umbrellas, whatever. So if you don't want to haul all that stuff down there, you have that option. One thing you need to consider is your Marina Logistics. You will come into the marina on where you pick up the ferry, and huge parking lot. It's like a Coliseum parking lot. I mean, it holds, a couple thousand cars, it seems. And you'll pull up like an airport. You'll drop all your bags and luggage and everything that you brought with you, and golf clubs and all that stuff. And you put them on these little wooden racks, these little 2-tiered racks. And they've got, for lack of a better term, bellhop type guys out there that guys and gals that'll load all your stuff for you. And they put them in big bins like you would see at an airport that they load airplanes with. And then you go send somebody to go park your car. I want to say it's $12 a day. So you will incur that cost. If you're there for a week, it's another $100-some that you're adding on to the overall cost of everything. So don't be sticker shocked by that when they charge you to get your car out of the parking lot at week's end. Most places are Friday to Friday or Saturday to Saturday, I believe. But you pull in, you want to get there early. The ferry is basically first come, first serve. The ferry probably holds, I'm going to say anywhere from 60 to 80 people. I could be amiss by that, but it holds quite a few people, but there are quite a few people trying to get on the island. So the quicker and earlier that you can get there, it seems to pick up around lunch or so. So if you can roll up at 8 or 9 in the morning, you're golden. You just have to wait. There's typically 2 ferries that'll come in and out of the marina, pick you up and roll out. Just remember what number silver bin that your clothes and luggage and all that stuff are in, 32. Okay, when I get over to the other side, I just need to look for 32 bin, and then you're good. But the porters, or whatever they're called, they load everything, tip them like you would anybody else that would do that job. And you get on the ferry. Ferry, I think currently is $23 for a round trip ticket. That includes a tram reservation. And what the tram is like a little tiny Isuzu truck that has a covered flatbed, like a pickup truck with a camper shell on it, and then it pulls a little cart that, I think 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 people maybe can fit in, as well as some fishing rods and stuff. They got a little trunk area in the back. And they basically tow you to your house, drop you off right at the front door, and then you wheel your stuff into the house. So that's nice. But you want to make your tram reservation ahead of time, get that stuff. You can get all your tickets and everything in order. I want to say it's like $12 for age 3 to 12, and anybody under 2 is free to get on the ferry, but they still need a ticket to do so. So you want to make sure that everybody has a ticket and you're good. But like I said, it's first come, first serve. You get on there. It's either standing room only or you can grab one of the benches. I will advise you that unless you like just being absolutely soaked. And when I say soaked, I mean when you go to an amusement park like a water park and the log flume comes down the hill and splashes everybody that's standing on the boardwalk and they're just now soaked. It's that kind of soaked. If you choose to stand on the end of the front end of the boat, which I can never remember if it's aft, stern, bow, whatever. But the front of the boat, if you stand along the side, there were several people that I watched get completely soaked because some of the wake is so, it comes up over the rails of the boat. And forgive me for my pathetic nautical language. But $23 round trip ticket. It's like a 30-minute ride. It's real pretty. You get to see all kinds of stuff. There's a couple other you get to see some real pretty houses and all that stuff. And you basically, they drop you off at the Deep Point Marina on the other end. When you actually get to Bald Head, you roll into it's kind of like a little cove right in the middle of the marina that you drive into. They dump you out. All the porter guys will roll all your carts up. And there's just a big, huge area where they dump them out, and you just find your number and stand by till when you come up there, they tell you you're on, tram 15 or tram 19 or whatever. And you get all your stuff and load it onto the tram, have a seat, and wait for your tram driver to take you to your destination. One thing that goes along with that, you want to take stuff with you. I think we took 5 or 6 Rubbermaid containers full of food and everything. And depending on how far away you're coming from, you could bring stuff that requires refrigeration. But chips and sodas and waters and all that kind of stuff, whatever you alcohol, all that stuff that you're bringing with you. Just put your name on it and stick it in a Rubbermaid. You can take that stuff with you because, as we'll get to in a minute, if you decide to go grocery shopping on the island, you're going to pay over $1,000 easily for a household of food. It is what it is. The market there is really nice. I mean, they have a lot of cool stuff and more than you would think, but it is very, very expensive to shop there. So do yourself a favor when you're home before you leave. Go to the grocery store and drop $400 on groceries and, lunch meat and all that kind of stuff. And you'll save yourself a lot of money that way. And it's the same food. So what's the difference really? It's just a few more things that you need to bring. So consider that. Alcohol. You can bring all the alcohol you want. And as far as alcohol, spirits, you're going to want to bring that if you choose to drink. Because all they're going to sell is wine and beer on the island. There's no alcohol store. You can't go get any bourbon or gin or whatever. They've got mixers and all that kind of stuff, but the alcohol itself is not available on the island. So you would have to ferry back to the mainland and bring it back, which obviously is kind of silly. And the wine and beer, wine's not too bad, unless you just get crazy, you have a crazy wine taste. But the beer is pretty expensive. A 12 pack's going to cost you double what it would back home and that kind of stuff at the market and all. But it is there. So, bring what you would drink in a 6-7 day, whatever you're there for, period. Because once it's gone, you won't be having any more alcohol. You'll be stuck drinking beer and wine, which, that may be your thing. I'm just saying, there is no ABC store, so to speak. When you rent the house, they should have golf carts, at least one, but try to get a house that has 2. Even if you're going with just 2 or 3 people, having 2 carts is really handy because if some people can sit on a beach all day long. Other people want to go back and sit in the air conditioner or take a nap or go, do something that doesn't require melting in the sand all afternoon. And being able to leave and not have to go pick the person back up that wanted to stay all afternoon on the beach is nice. So having 2 carts is really nice. Most all of them are 4-seaters. They have 6-seaters at some of the houses, but know what you're getting into. We had 2 4-seaters. They folded down into like flatbeds. So if you're hauling a bunch of stuff to the beach, carts and whatnot, you know, you can haul that stuff a little bit easier. But everything is electric. There's no gas carts that I know of. I think everything there has to be electric as far as the cart situation. But charge those things up, because there's no charging station where you're going. Everybody pretty much has the chargers on the cart, but so they just plug it in when they get back to the house. But every time you come home, plug that thing in. We had one that had to get serviced. They had to call the 24-hour guy to come have it, look at it and all, because it died a couple times on us. And one part, you know, it's a 4.8 mile long island, and it's 2 miles wide. And we were about 4.2 miles from the house, and it was a long push, let's say. So consider that. But try to get a house that has 2 carts. You'll thank yourself. But some of them have 1. But if you can find one with 2, that's a really nice perk that you wouldn't think would be cool. But you know, especially if you've got, you know, a 3-bedroom house and you've got 6 or 8 people there. You know, you got to shuttle people to the beach, if nothing else. But it also, like I said, allows people to come back and, you know, go run an errand. Oh, get some ice cream or whatever, and you don't have to wait on them and whatnot. So that's kind of cool. There's 3 main beaches. Well, 4, I guess, 4 main beaches. The biggest and most crowded one is the beach on the east side of the island, which is a really nice beach. There's kind of I don't even know what to call it, like a sandbar that just stretches out into I've never seen anything like it. You probably go 100 yards out into the ocean on the sandbar, out there by the Shoals Club and all, right on the tip of the eastern side of it. I like the South Beach a lot more. It was a lot less crowded, and it was just a lot windier, so it was nice having the breeze. And everything. But you have your choice of beaches. There's also a beach right up by the marina. There's 2 of them that kind of go around the marina. One is right at the northern tip of it, which is real flat, and it's I don't want to say dirty, but there's a lot of debris and stuff that's rolled up because you're right there on the Cape Fear River, and all that stuff has gone up. But it's a nice beach. It's a bit of a walk. You got to go down a fairly long boardwalk to get to it. And then the beach on the west side is really small, really crowded with, you know, wood and debris and driftwood and stuff like that. And there's hardly any breeze the one time we went to try to go there. And why do I say there needs to be a breeze? Because there's a thing called a shibumi that you need to pay attention to. I had never heard of these things, didn't know what it was. But if you don't have a shibumi, you're just not bald head material, apparently. Because when you look down the coastline in each direction, it's nothing but blue and teal of these weather vane looking tent things. And if you don't know what one is, it'd be easier for you to Google it than me to describe it. But it's basically a big U-shaped tent pole that has, you know, kind of just a piece of cloth on it that blows in the wind. It gives you great shade, and you can kind of move it in the direction of the wind. As long as you have wind, it is awesome. It makes me wonder how in the world I ever went to a beach and just sat there and melted all day long in the sun. Without shade like that. They're very, very helpful. Now, they're about $250, but when you start factoring in what you would pay 80, 90, $100 for an umbrella for the week, and you just splurge and get the thing, you would use it at other places. Just be aware that there's other beaches out there that don't allow them because they obscure the view or whatever. Seems kind of pretentious, really. They're actually pretty cool, and I don't see how they obscure anybody's view, but nevertheless, it is what it is. There's lots of restaurants on the island. They're pricey. Nothing's cheap. There's Mike's Bites. There's a Sandpiper. Jules, I ate there a couple times. It was really good, really fresh seafood. It's right there on the marina. You can sit outside. There's a bar inside, and there's a little tiki bar looking thing on the outside. It's a nice little setting. You can eat at the golf course, but you got to have a membership to get in there, as well as the Shoals Club. Sometimes if you check with your homeowner from whom you're renting, you can have a membership, and that can get you in, even though you're not a member. So it just depends on what they have lined up as far as that's concerned. There's Delfina's, which is like a taco, Tex-Mex type place. And then there's a place called Jailhouse Provisions, which I ate, which I think used to be the police department, which is why it's called the Jailhouse, I guess. I wasn't a fan. It was, to me, overpriced, not a lot of food, and it just wasn't that great. But it's more like burgers and fish tacos and stuff like that, just simple foods. Jules, I would highly recommend. I didn't go to all the other ones because I didn't go there to eat in restaurants, but we did go a couple times. There is a lot to see on the island history-wise. If you're a war buff, there's a lot of, that was obviously what they were trying to turn it into a fort, and you can kind of see the remnants. There's a few historical trails and whatnot that show you kind of the walls that they had built up. They're kind of hard to see because it's just, it's erosion and all that stuff. It's gone away so much. But there's walking trails that you can learn stuff and whatnot. There's the Old Baldy Lighthouse, which is 112 foot lighthouse that I think was built in 1817. It's been rebuilt a few times and whatnot. And it's like I think it's the third of 3 lighthouses that were built on the island. And in fact, on the east side of the island, there's the remnants of what used to be I think the first lighthouse that was there. You can still see the pillars and where the iron came into the concrete and all that stuff. And I got pictures of it. It's pretty cool. It looks more like a water tower in the way it's constructed than Old Baldy, which is more brick and plaster. But you go through, and I want to say it was $8 or $10 to go in. They got a tiny little, 10-foot by 5-foot little museum room that kind of tells you the history of wartime, maritime stuff, and they've got some artifacts and some munitions and artillery and stuff like that they'd found. And then you get to go up into the lighthouse, which is kind of cool. Because it was where they filmed Weekend at Bernie's. So you're walking into the exact same place that they filmed that, which is kind of weird. But you walk up the stairs. They're steeper than you would think. It's not difficult to go up there. I can't imagine there would be a lot of elderly people that would make the trip just because it is kind of vertical. So it's not taxing in the sense that it's difficult, but it is hot until you get to the top and there's a breeze coming through the little vent windows and whatnot. It's pretty stuffy in there. You're sweating pretty good by the time you get to the top of it, but it's a beautiful view. It's worth the $8 or $10 that they charge you for it. And it's just really pretty. And I think that runs till about 4 o'clock. It's like 9 or 10 in the morning till like 3 or 4 in the afternoon that they do it. So if you want to do it, just make sure you know what time it's available. And there's some historical trails, and there's an old church next to it that you can walk into that I assume is always open because we walked into it, and beautiful woodwork and all that. It's been kind of restored and whatnot. There's also a lot of walking trails. Bald Head Island is pretty much a nature preserve all to its own. I saw more wildlife than I care to even count. Frogs and skinks and lizards and, deer are all over the island, and they're just used to humans. So they're not, bothered by you. Snakes and turtles and every kind of ibis and bird and crabs and everything you can think of on an island. There's also an enormous sea turtle population there that they have a sea turtle foundation that you can get involved in, and they'll take you on tours. And, if it's nesting season, you can get involved with all that. And everything that's down towards the Shoals Club on the eastern side of the island. There's just a lot of cool stuff to take advantage of. Just be aware that if you go on some of these nature trails, they're kind of tight. And, at one point I almost walked into a snake that was, hanging across a limb just about at eye height. So don't just look down, look up, and pay attention to your surroundings because, there's obviously things on the island that can hurt you if you're not familiar with where you're going and you're in their world. So just be careful. There is also alligators and whatnot. So you got to consider that. But there's some really pretty trails and whatnot. And just the golf carts. Just hop in a golf cart and just ride around the island. It's just really cool. There's no cars on the island with the exception of maintenance and police and fire. And any kind of service people that come in. For example, the guy that came and worked on the golf cart was in a golf cart, But, if you've got people that are doing plumbing and, building the houses and stuff like that, they come in over on a barge that just runs all day long like the ferry. And they brought in, I saw a concrete truck, a UPS truck, or a FedEx or something like that, and all this big stuff, and it brings it all over and jumps them off right there at the marina, in beside Jules actually, and then they roll on. But other than working people in their vehicles, there's no combustible engines. Combustion engines, I should say, on the island. Everything's electric, but you can hop in that cart and just ride all over the place, and it's just really pretty. The live oaks are absolutely beautiful. There is all the little palmettos and everything. There's also a little, I can't remember the name of it. It seems like it was somebody's name, but it's kind of like right in the middle of the island, closer to the eastern side. But it's a little, it's almost like what you would see at a zoo. They've got basically just a deck right in front of a lake, and you can go up, and there's gators that live in the lake, and they got little, all these turtles and stuff, and all these big cranes and ibises and stuff like that will come in and land in the trees. It's really cool, but you got to be able to find it. It's not hard to find. I just can't remember the name of it and whatnot. So, there's a lot going on. It's a great, beautiful way to spend a week. Just riding through, looking at all the pretty plants and trees and stuff like that as you ride through the basically it's like the main road on the northern end of the island is basically just a tunnel of Spanish moss and live oaks and stuff, and it's just beautiful. And most of the houses on the northern end are kind of tucked in the trees and all that stuff. The house we had, the main living space was on the second floor, and it really felt like you were in a big tree house a lot of times with the big windows and stuff like that. Our house was a 3-bedroom, had a nice screened-in porch and then a deck with a grill, a little garage for the golf cart and another place to park another one, outdoor shower, although it didn't have like walls to it, so you couldn't really shower. It was kind of strange. But, just bathing off or rinsing off when you come back from the beach. But it did have washer and dryer and all that stuff. So, if you want to, clean everything before you leave and all that stuff. And it's just like any other typical vacation rental, toss your linens in the laundry before you leave, clean up your mess and lock everything up kind of thing. But, and then when it's time to leave, you just roll all your stuff to the end of the driveway, which the driveway is probably like 30 yards long. And just wait at the road, and the tram will come pick you up and zip you on back to the thing, or you can get the carts to take you. Just get somebody to shuttle you back or whatever, and then get in line for the ferry and watch people try to hustle each other to try to get in front of everybody, and hop on the ferry and then go back, pick up your car, and you're good. When you get back, same process. Just remember what number your luggage and everything is in. Have somebody come get the car. What I would do is, as soon as I got off the ferry, I took off running because I knew there were going to be 50 people with 50 cars, and there's not a huge area to load and unload. It's way smaller than what you would have in an airport terminal. The whole unloading area is probably 75 yards long, maybe. So you can imagine how many cars you can fit in there. So I took off sprinting, got there, and got the car, and I was like one of the first ones there, loaded everything up, and hit the road. So great way to spend a week if you're going to the beach, if you don't mind the cost. Again, the food is going to be your worst enemy because it's just so expensive. The cafe, the Maritime Cafe the Maritime Marketplace. There was a Maritime Cafe in the marketplace, and that was actually probably the most affordable place to eat. Went there a couple mornings for breakfast because it was the only place you could really get coffee, even though I don't drink it. But a decent price, $8, $9, $10 for eggs and sausage, biscuit, and a drink kind of thing. So that wasn't too bad. And they got a little outdoor area that you can sit and eat and whatnot. But it's attached to the market. You can order a whole fish if you want to, and they'll have it cut up and ready for you. They've got deli sandwiches and just most anything else. They've got an aisle for medical stuff, and if you need Band-Aids or whatever, eye drops or whatnot, toothpaste, that kind of stuff. But you go there and you get a thing of lunch meat and a thing of cheese, and you're $14 in. You know what I mean? Like it's that kind of thing. So, like I said, probably the best way to save a little bit of money to kind of make it more of an affordable outing would be to go beforehand and just pack everything up and bring it with you, because it's no big deal. And most everything, like a lot of beach communities, is kind of left unlocked and it's pretty safe and whatnot. We forgot a bin. We got to the house and we're like looking around, where's the bin with whatever. And this is like an hour later, and I took the golf cart back up to the marina, and it's just sitting there in a parking lot. So nobody messes with your stuff, so it's pretty cool. So if you do it, make sure you explore. There's a lot of cool stuff out there. You'll be amazed at some of the construction and the houses that they're building nowadays. You can see the old side and the new side, but check it out. Hope this helps. Like and subscribe if you like this kind of content, and let me know in the comments if there's anything you want to know about. Giddy up.